You guys just headed back?
About to get off the university exit.
Oh yeah. That's always boatloads of fun.
Hi, Cody.
Hey Corey.
I had a chauffeur on the way home. He's like, I could drive. I was like, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's already a driver, man.
Yeah, he said he had callbacks and stuff today, so I was letting him get to him. He gave me a chance to get through my reminders for people that call in and have questions but don't answer my callbacks.
Yeah. Hi, Angela.
Hello.
Hope you guys don't mind if I eat. By the time I got home, got a shower and made dinner. Happening.
What's dinner?
I haven't even had a chance to even start thinking about dinner right now.
This one or the next one? This is the next one is Texas Cracker Barrel.
Okay. So I want to talk about numbers.
Oh, why are you doing this to me? First, you fried my brain with paint fumes. Now you want to fry my brain with math. And I didn't even bring a calculator. Cody.
I don't have a calculator.
It really is okay. I'm going to give you things to remember, not things to calculate.
Are you just giving me formulas?
Yes. We're going to give you
Okay.
formulas, and then I'm going to give you some numbers to remember. Does that make sense?
Yes, that I can do.
I'm going to give you formulas to know. And then
What are you eating? And why aren't you sharing?
I did, I oven roasted some tomatoes, and then I made some pasta, and then I tossed it in a little hot oil with the tomatoes and salami with some olives and mushrooms.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
A little bit of red pepper flake with it.
Well, I can't do the red pepper flake, but the rest sounds amazing.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Hi,
Hi, Miss Becky.
how are you?
Oh, you know, he's about to make me do math. I'm so excited.
No idea where the camera's at right now. What do you
You're
think
on
of
the
the
silver.
what?
Staring at your, there you are.
Yeah,
I was staring at your sweatshirt a while ago.
working on it.
Oh,
I don't need this
There you
on
go.
me. I need it on you.
it's okay. We're just here. Can I have my book, please?
Which one?
So I can write in, or is my book
This
in there?
one or
No, my
the-
spiral.
That's in
Oh, it's
by
in
your desk.
Hey, Becky, here in a little bit, I'm going to connect team you, just you, my phone number, so you can give me yours. Because I didn't write it down today.
Do what now?
Your phone number so that when you are doing your study group and stuff like that, I can call.
Oh, gotcha. Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, sweet.
See where I told you guys I've been working on flashcards.
Oh, nice.
You have
And
been
I-
working on flashcards.
Well, I've been going through the Quizlet and writing out flashcards so that I can just,
Any of this?
you know, do it. But I'm only 3 pages in.
I'm not trying to be.
Do I
Yeah.
have a pen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is everybody ready?
We are ready.
Okay. So, let's see here. Can everybody see my screen? My,
Yes.
okay. So, Chad and I were talking, and he said that there's one of his clients, a chimney company out, let's just say not in Texas,
Mhm.
that they are doing this week, they've been doing their CSI certifications, or it was last week, and they were bombing it hardcore. And that's because the stuff that they're teaching in the review is not necessarily the stuff that they're testing on. And he said that there's a lot of numbers and equations and stuff that we need to get familiar with. And Chad straight up said that we need to be prepared to fail.
Oh, no.
Right?
So
I don't like
he
that.
started reading off some of the questions to me that they had seen. And because I already knew the formula stuff, I got his questions right. I went 10 out of 10. And he told me that in my next little group chat that we need to make sure that you guys know this information by heart, and you need to know it the way that I know it, so that it makes more sense when you're taking the test and when you're going through the reviews and everything else. So with that said, where is my, not that one. It's this one? Yes, that one. Okay. So
It's like daylight there. Look at that.
Oh, it is.
It's dark as shit here.
Yeah.
oh, it's barely daylight. Like it would be dark walking around outside. There's just a little bit of light left in the sky.
Oh,
And Marty's facing back towards the sunset. So
Mm.
okay. So right here in the middle of my screen,
appliances.
Chad's having a little bit of Chad is having a little bit of an issue with this exact set of numbers, and he wanted me to make sure that you guys had this information. So in the testing, they're only asking you a few different things, but the easiest thing to know is that there's only 3 reductions to wall clearance, and there's only 2 reductions to ceiling clearance.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on. Only, hold on,
And 3 to ceiling.
2,
3
there's only
wall,
3 to,
3
3
for
to
the
wall.
wall and 2 for the ceiling.
2 to ceiling. And that's
Don't worry,
reduction.
Brock. I just finished my dinner as well. There you go. Okay. So for the wall protectors, the numbers are 33%.
Okay, hold on. Wall protectors, you said?
If for the wall protectors, the numbers you need to know are 33%,
Okay,
50%, and 66%.
okay,
For the ceiling protectors, the 2 numbers you need to know are 33% and 50%. And I promise it's going to be a lot easier here in just a second.
okay, hold on.
So on the wall protectors, somebody's trying to come in. Bam.
Joe.
And Josh Johnson.
Oh,
Joe, it looks like Joe and Josh Johnson. Oh no, it's Corey on his own.
oh yeah.
Oh.
Corey.
Hi,
Sorry,
Corey.
I just got in my car.
All right, so on the wall protectors, there's only one thing that is 33%, and that is 3.5 inches of masonry without a ventilated airspace.
Of May. Mary without a ventilation.
Without a
Ventilated.
ventilated airspace. And when you're using masonry stacked against a combustible wall with no air gap, it only reduces the clearance to combustibles by 33%.
Okay, hold up. So is that part of what you just you're talking about, like the
Yep.
33%?
So if you look at my screen, right
Thick
here,
masonry wall without ventilated airspace,
yeah,
right there.
right here,
Uh-huh.
3.5 inches thick masonry wall without a ventilated airspace reduces the clearance to combustibles by
By
33%.
33%. Okay.
So that's the only wall reduction that you need to worry about. That's 33%.
Okay.
That's it. So if you know a brick wall without an air gap is 33%, just to put it in easy terms, brick wall, no air gap, 33%, right?
Okay.
Now, the next one is a 1/2 inch thick, non-combustible insulation board over a 1 inch glass fiber or mineral wool bats without ventilated airspace. So essentially they're saying something along the lines of like a hardy board or a concrete board with no airspace. So the first two are no airspace without an air gap. Something like a concrete board or a non-combustible board is the 50% reduction.
Okay. So if it's made out of that boarding,
Yeah,
okay.
just any 1/2 inch thick non-combustible boarding with no airspace
Okay.
is a 50% reduction. Okay,
Mhm.
so 1/2 inch thick board with no air gap, 50% reduction.
Okay.
Anything else that it references as a wall protector reduces by 66%. All other wall protectors reduce by 66%. So you only have to know 3 wall protectors. You need to know the brick with no airspace, the non-combustible board, the 3.5 inches of brick, no airspace, 1/2 inch non-combustible board, no airspace, and then everything else that it ever references as a wall protector is gonna reduce by 66%.
Okay.
And I know you're going to tell me I can download this, but is there any possible way that we can get this printed at the office so that I can have it for reference?
I can drop it in Connect Team, or I can email it to the customer service.
Yeah, that way I can.
Yeah, that
print
way
it.
she can print it out.
Yeah, this
How about
one-
just this page?
Yeah,
Yeah, just this page.
just that page.
Oh, well, because isn't it in the book?
I don't have a book.
She don't have a book.
It's in the NFPA. You can print it out from there,
Yeah.
Or- or I can.
This
just-
exact, yeah, this exact page is in the NFPA.
Yeah, that's where I got this from. I just screenshot the NFPA.
If it emailed, if you got the email on Connect Team or whatever for NFPA, you can literally just take that and send it to the printer and have it print out the whole book.
How big is that dang book?
66
Seven-
pages or.
Oh yeah, 60. I thought it was about 70 pages. 66.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's in the NFPA book.
Yep.
Yes.
PA, and I can
211.
get that. The NFPA 211.
Pull it
211.
on Connect Team. If you pull it up on Connect Team, which is
Okay.
what we went through on Tuesday night, you can watch that video.
Yeah.
It'll show you how to pull it up.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
All right. So ceiling protectors. Like I said,
Alright.
there's only 2 numbers that you need to know for ceiling protectors. The first one is, we're going to go back to your 1/2 inch thick, non-combustible board, no air gap. As a ceiling protector is 33% reduction. And then anything else that it references as a ceiling protector is 50%. Everybody got that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to set this off to the side and I will email this one page in.
Okay, well, that's fine. And then I'll also print that guide off, like you
Yeah.
were telling me, the NFPA 211 book.
Cody, I just screenshotted it and I sent it to Connect Team.
I saw that. Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you.
You're welcome.
All right. So this is the other set of numbers
Still
that
pipe
you need to
connectors,
know.
Yep.
Okay, still pipe connectors.
You need to know 26, 24, 22, and 16.
So okay. When we're talking the diameter of the flue pipe, the diameter of your round flue pipe, we need for individual diameters or ranges of diameters of flue pipe, the sheet metal has to be different thicknesses. Because
Yeah.
You know,
as you're venting, as you have a larger diameter flue pipe, you're able to vent more. You're able to vent more means the firebox is going to be larger, so on and so forth. You're going to be moving more heat, so it has to be more heat resistant. To do that, it has to be a thicker metal because it has to stand up. So less than 6 inches in diameter. Does everybody know what a diameter is?
Yes.
Right. So it's the circle from left to right. That is the diameter, right? So a pipe that is less than 6 inches will always be made from 26 gauge sheet metal.
So less than 6 inches diameter, always 26 gauge
sheet metal.
G sheet.
And there's only 4 of these that you need to know. In the gauges that are greater than 6, so anything from 6 to 10 inches in diameter, that's not gauges. Anything between 6 and 10 inches in diameter is going to be 24 gauge sheet metal.
So the gauge is thicker the smaller the pipe. Is there any reason to that?
That's going to lead to our next thing.
Okay.
All right, anything between 10 and 16 inches in diameter is 22 gauge sheet metal. And this last one is really easy. Anything bigger than 16
No.
is going to be
no, I'm on this
16.
meeting, on this Zoom thing.
Anything larger than what?
Anything larger than 16 inches
Okay.
is going to be 16 gauge sheet metal. So remember when I said the smaller the flue pipe, the thinner the wall, and the larger the flue pipe, the larger the wall, because it's going to be able to move more heat and it's got to be more heat tolerant. Josh asked why it's getting thinner as the size goes up. Something you need to know about the gauges. One of the questions on the test is 24 gauge sheet metal thinner than 26 gauge sheet metal? Yes or no?
Yes.
24 gauge sheet metal is thicker than 26 gauge sheet.
Okay, so it goes down is
The bigger the number, the thinner it is.
okay.
And the
Sorry.
way that my grandfather gave me a really great representation on how to understand that. So if you've got a piece of rebar as big as my thumb and
Mhm.
you put it in a forge, you haven't hit it yet, right? This is 0 gauge. You pull it out of the forge and you whack it one time and it pooches it a little bit. That's gauge number 1. Whack it again, it pooches it even more, gauge number 2. So if you think about it that way, 16 hits might be like this, but every time you hit it, your gauge is going up because it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So it's
Okay.
the inverse of what you might actually think. So the higher the gauge, the thinner the metal. The lower the gauge, the thicker the metal.
Higher.
We're just gonna call it Cody's grandpa theory.
Yeah.
Okay, so the higher the gauge.
Dude, they'll remember it.
Repeat that. The higher the gauge.
The higher the gauge, the thinner the metal.
Yep. The more times you hit it.
I mean, it makes perfect sense once you think
It
about
really does, I said.
really does.
You should hear some of the stuff that Joe has for his different ways of remembering, like the UL codes and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. The
Okay.
lower the gauge. Mm,
See here. So that takes care of those. What was okay? So the next thing that we're going to be talking about is clearance to combustibles for different appliance types.
Okay.
And I'm going to save all these off to the side and I'm going to send them to everybody. I'll put it in, I'll send it to the customer service page, the customer service email.
Okay.
And then you guys can all print them out and then you can reference this video and you can see exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about it. This is how I memorized all this stuff. And so if it helps you to memorize it, that's what I'm kind of going for. I'm trying to help give you some insight into the way I got around to the information. I just categorize everything. So I make something equal something, right?
Right.
So residential type appliances. There's only 3 numbers to know. 6 inches of clearance to combustibles. And that is right here. So 6 inches is equal to a listed gas appliance with a draft hood and other category 1 gas appliances listed for use with type B vents. So gas appliances with hoods and B vents are under 6. Unlisted gas appliances with draft hoods are 6 inches. And boilers and furnaces equipped with listed gas burners with draft hoods. So if you get unlisted appliances with draft hoods, listed appliances with draft hoods, B vents, and boilers with gas burners with hoods. Those are the 3 things that are 6 inches clearance to combustibles. The one that they tested on was in the 9-inch clearance to combustibles, and that was the unlisted gas appliances with draft hoods. So I'm going to send this to you guys so that you can write it all down. You can say it's 6 inches clearance to combustibles for this, or it's 9 inches clearance to combustibles for that. And then all you have to know is the items that are 9-inch clearance to combustibles, the items that are 6 inches clearance to combustibles, and then the ones that are 18. So those are your 3 numbers on this page.
So 6, 9, and 18.
Yes.
6, 9, and 18.
All right.
And that's for residential clearance to combustibles.
That's residential type appliances.
Residential type.
Yep. And then you can also you can include the low heat appliances into that if you want to get kind of specific, because there's only one in the low heat appliances that is anything other than 18. Now, the deal is a medium heat appliance. If it ever references a medium heat appliance, there's only one category, and that's 36 inches clearance to combustibles.
Hold on.
With that, A wood stove is considered a medium heat appliance with a single wall metal pipe connector.
So
this is where
medium-
it gets fun. Yeah, medium heat appliances with
And that-
single wall metal pipe connectors. And that doesn't matter if it's gas, oil, or solid
Wall.
fuel.
You said single wall pipe connectors, right?
And it's 36 inches clearance to combustibles. So if
Is
we know that,
6-inch.
so a wood stove is 36 inches clearance to combustibles. And then we're going to come back over here to this other page. One of the questions on the test is if you have a wood stove, automatically you know 36 inches, right? 36
Mhm.
inches clearance to combustibles for a wood stove. If you have a wood stove that is behind or it's in front of a 3.5 inch thick masonry wall with a 1-inch air gap, what is its clearance to combustibles? So you already know that the stove itself, without any kind of a protection, is 36 inches. On this page right here, with the first one that we went over, it's right here.
The
A
66.
3.5 inch thick masonry wall with a ventilated airspace reduces by 66%, 2/3. So if the wood stove is 36 inches and it's behind the 3.5 inch thick masonry wall with a ventilated airspace, then you're gonna it's reduced by 2/3. So that means that now its clearance to combustibles is only 12 inches. It's weird because you don't have the number memorized yet, trust me, but it'll make sense. So right at the bottom of this page here,
Mhm, 36.
wood stove clearance to combustibles is 36. The question on the test is if you have a wood stove sitting in front of a brick wall
Mhm.
with a 1-inch air gap, how far should it be away from combustible materials? So the wood stove starts at 36 inches,
Mhm.
but when you're adding the brick wall with the airspace, you can take some of that 36 inches away. And that's where this little paper comes in right here that says you're going to reduce that 36 inches by 66%.
Oh,
So it's like a 66% discount at Macy's or Best Buy, open box, 66% off. So if your wood stove needs 3 foot of space before it can get near a wall that could catch on fire, but you don't want it to be sticking 3 feet out into the room, the easiest way to get it really close to the wall is to build up a brick wall with a 1-inch air gap, and then the thing can be 12 inches away from the combustible wall.
This far away,
Oh.
because it's reducing it 66%.
so the brick wall isn't considered the combustible wall.
It is the masonry product is a non-combustible wall. So we're talking clearance to the combustible,
To the combustible, okay.
which leads to another question that's on the test. When you're measuring clearance to combustibles, and Marty and Corey ran into this today, when you're measuring the clearance to combustibles, you measure from the flue pipe to what?
The combustible.
The combustibles.
Okay, so hold on, let me write this question down. Repeat it, please.
When you're measuring for clearance to combustibles,
For clearance
That is one of them you asked me.
is-
It's
Okay,
the measurement is taken from the from the outer wall of the flue pipe
from the outer wall of the flue pipe
to what?
to what?
And the answer is
Your-
the combustible material.
And the answer is the combust.
Oh.
So when you're, I'm trying to picture this in my head, okay?
Right
So I
here.
got the,
This is your prefab flue pipe right here, okay?
okay,
And this is a wall.
right,
When we're measuring our clearance to combustibles, we're measuring the distance between these two, right?
right.
Not the actual wood stove itself.
Yeah, my gas card right here is going to be the 3.5-inch thick masonry with a 1-inch air gap. So without it, I need to be 3 feet away. When I put the brick wall in front of it, I can now scoot this flue pipe to within 1 foot of the original combustible wall. It doesn't have to be 1 foot away from the brick. It can be within 1 foot of the original combustible wall.
Which is 66% reduction.
Section
Which is 66% reduction.
of the 36.
So if you're thinking about it in a mathematical way, the
Mhm.
wood stove is equivalent to 36 inches,
Okay,
right?
okay,
And then the 3.5-inch brick wall with a 1-inch air gap
mm-hmm,
is equivalent to a negative 66%.
Okay,
okay,
So we're going to say 66 minus 66%, or 36 minus 66%.
okay, so it'll be
So 36
36 minus
minus
66%
66% equals
equals
X.
X.
And the X is your clearance between the outer wall of the flue pipe and the combustible material.
Okay, so X, and hold on. So I got him putting this in parentheses. X is equal. Your X is, repeat it, please.
X is equal to the distance between the outer wall of the flue pipe
They do that.
and the combustible material.
The outer wall
Now, this literally only has to be
of the
1 foot.
flue pipe
right, that's if you had a brick wall right here, right?
If you have the
and
well with the 1 inch,
the,
you have the airspace.
Right, okay.
Now this flue.
Can scoot over there. Okay,
That's all.
you,
it's-
when that question kept coming, you know what I was picturing in my head? A freaking spark arrestor. I don't know why. That's why I kept getting it wrong. I was picturing a spark arrestor, seriously.
okay, so we all need like a Cody and a Brian sitting right next to us to draw diagrams, dang it.
That's why we're here. Okay, another thing that I'm gonna send you guys is this one. And
Oh,
the
God.
pictures are on, no, this is, it makes way more sense when you know what it is. All these pictures are in the Connect Team test.
Is that the
So if you take
45
the test
degree?
on Connect Team, the pictures are in it. So when it
Okay.
asks a question, I wanted to give you these pages. So when it asks the question about the wood stove with the masonry wall, I give you the information in the pictures to pick the right thing. All you have to do is look at the picture and read it. And if you do that, it's going to help you, and then you'll end up associating the question with the picture. So in this one, when it asks, one of the questions I think was the clearance, what is the clearance to combustibles if a mantle protrudes 3 inches, which is this right here. And the clearance to combustibles, you come down, you come over, you come down. It's right here. There you go. It's 14 inches.
Okay, go down again. How did you do that? You said, here's the mantle.
Yeah, so the
Clearance
mantle,
is 3.
these are different measurements out.
Different.
Okay, I see how it works.
So is that one of the questions that was wrong on the,
Yes, that's one of the
Because
questions
it-
that's wrong.
right, anything under 1.5 is 6 inches above the, or between the firebox and where the mantle can be, as long as it protrudes more than, or less than 1.5 inches.
Right.
And then it says anything more than 1.5 inches, it has to be,
Well, at 1.5 inches, it's 12.
1.5, well, it
And
says
then it goes up.
less than 1.5 is 6, anything more than 1.5 is 12, is what it says.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's actually 14.
At 3 inches, which is the question on the test, at 3 inches. So if a mantle sticking
Sticks
out
out
from
3
the wall is 3 inches,
Inches,
how far above the opening of the fireplace does it need to be?
14
The
inches.
answer is 14.
Okay.
Okay,
Right,
so
so I can
here, like
find-
I've got my mantle here. And when you say protrude, you mean how far it's sticking out like here. So if it's sticking out 3
Right.
inches from the top of the firebox to the mantle has to be 14 inches.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
But that's not how it says it on the practice thing. That's why I was saying, because it just literally says 12.
It
Right.
doesn't say that
More
on
than
the
1.5
practice
inch.
test.
Yeah, the practice test. That's why I was asking if that was one of the ones that he felt like was wrong.
Right.
So here we go.
And
We'll go
again,
with
this diagram is in the NPF,
Yeah.
NP8, sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm learning, okay?
so this right here is the mantle
FPA.
up here.
Right.
So this bit here is the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
So this mantle, if it sticks out 3 inches, it has to be 14 inches between this distance here has to measure 14 inches.
So when you, and this is my ignorance, a mantle's always just the top portion, this top portion that goes across this, where'd you go with the picture?
No,
The
it's,
mantle's
it can be the side too, but that's a different measurement.
and the side, but this portion right here, this wider portion under that edge that you're talking about, that's what your clearance space.
So I'm just using, this one isn't a great picture to use for that, but I'm saying the mantle is generally where somebody's going to set the stuff on, right? It's like
Right.
a little ledge that somebody's going to
Just
set.
a ledge across, right?
So yes, that's that area
Okay.
right there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Where are we? Where are we? I think this one here. No, not that one. That one there. Check half-inch side laps. I'm looking at a really small representation of all this stuff, trying to find the right. Oh, here we go. This is. Nope, that one's still wrong. Okay, I'll have to find the right picture for that one. That was the mantle. What are you? Where's my other measurements? Did I
I'm
already
so
have it
glad you're
pulled
not
up? Oh,
actually
I've already
making
got
us
it pulled
take
up.
shots because I'm literally would be drunk already.
Okay, so it's going to ask you about the wall thimble passing through a 3.5-inch masonry wall and its clearance to combustibles. So it's a 3.5-inch masonry wall. I want you, okay? Any single wall connector pipe, any single wall connector pipe that passes through a wall has to go through a thimble. And a thimble, you were asking about what that is. It's
Right.
literally a metal sleeve that goes through the wall first, and then the pipe being slightly smaller goes through that.
So it's like here, it's
It's
an
a-
example would be like a wood stove, right? Because you know how wood stoves, they come
Right.
up, they turn,
Right.
and they'll either go
So-
out that way or go up this way. The thimble is slid into the wall and then the pipe is slid through it.
Yes. So with the previous question that we worked on,
Mhm.
any single wall pipe or connector that is for a medium heat appliance, what is the standard clearance to combustibles?
Okay,
36 inches,
right, 36,
So now we're passing through 3.5 inches of masonry
right?
with a 1 inch air gap.
So that reduces it. 12.
So we're going to reduce that 36 inches by 66. So when it
Divide it by
asks you
66.
about a wall thimble
I'll be ready next.
with masonry,
No joke.
you have to know the clearance of the original appliance, and then you can do the clearance minus the reduction for the wall, right? So we're back to a wood stove. We know it's 36 inches,
Right,
and it's going to go through a thimble that's in a wall that has 3.5 inches of masonry with a
Okay.
1 inch air gap, which is going to reduce it by how
Is it-
much?
So does the thimble not reduce it more?
is it
You're still
12?
overall you're reducing by the same amount.
Is it
Oh,
12?
Well,
It's 12.
12.25.
It's
Well, it's
all
12
here.
point, it says 12.24.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing the exact math, but in the book it says 12 inches.
Okay,
12 inches is the number to know.
Yeah.
12 inches is the number to know. See, I told you it's easy. If
not
you
really,
just
I'm
think
just.
of it, that's because you're just now hearing this for the first time. Once you've looked at it a few times, it's a lot easier.
Same thing with the prefab masonry, right? 12 inches.
What do you mean?
Would it be the same clearance to combustibles with something like that?
I don't know. You've got an NFPA.
Yeah.
Is a prefab a single wall connector, a dual wall connector,
Double wall.
double wall connector?
Mhm.
So we'd have to know the clearance to combustibles based on that. What is
Okay.
the easiest place to find information on clearance of combustibles, clearance to combustibles for any prefab fireplace?
The NFPA 211, right?
Nope, the
Easiest place.
manufacturer.
The instructions?
Pretty much, yeah.
Angela got it.
Yay!
The manufacturer's
Manufacturer's instructions.
installation manual.
Flashcards, baby, flashcards.
Okay.
And your
Yay!
general clearance to combustibles for a prefab masonry with 24 gauge double wall pipe, where the outer wall is generally galvanized and the inner wall is generally stainless steel, is going to be 2 inches.
Inches.
Okay.
This needs to have whiskey in it, not tea.
I'll go get a bottle of whiskey and I'll take the shot for you.
No, I got half gallons right back there. I just need him to come back into the room.
Okay, there you go.
You got it.
Okay, so clearance to combustibles wise, there's 2 clearance to combustibles that you need to know for masonry chimneys. So masonry chimneys, clearance to combustibles.
Okay, hold on. Mason. Mary. Chimney clearance. I'm gonna be dreaming about that word for the to combustible.
Oh, the putty tat.
All right, so you said there are 2 what?
There's 2 clearance to combustibles that you need to know for the masonry chimney.
Masonry chimney clearance to combustible. Number 1.
An interior chimney
Interior.
has a clearance to combustibles of what, Brock?
A
2 inches.
2 inches.
Of 2
Becky,
inches.
do you know the clearance of clearance to combustibles for an exterior chimney?
For an exterior,
Yes, ma'am.
negative.
I know it.
Hold on. I think that was one of my flashcards.
It was.
I'm showing-
An exterior clearance to combustible, it's 2 inches for interior, for exterior. Is it 6? 12.
Marty, what is it?
1 inch.
One.
1?
1 inch.
Okay, so exterior. Chimney clearance to
Got a nice little refresher on that today, on that last one. And we was at,
combustible.
You did, didn't you?
yeah.
The exterior chimney clearance to combustible is 1 inch.
Yeah. And actually, that'd be something really, I don't know.
So when you're saying interior, exterior, just for me, I know this is, you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk. Interior, are you talking about like inside the home, and exterior, talking about outside the home? Or are we talking?
It's one interior means that the chimney is in like the middle of the house and it comes up through the roof. Exterior is when the chimney's like on the side of the house on an
Okay.
exterior wall.
So interior means middle
Right.
of home. And exterior means when it's on an exterior wall,
Right. So
side,
this is the one that Corey
home.
and Marty were at earlier. And they were talking
Oh my
about,
God, what is that?
this is a
That-
chimney going up
Through the middle of the house?
right up here. And so they were worried about the wood touching the brick at this point. Right? So they're worried about the wood touching the brick here because they were worried about clearance to combustibles. But when we measure for clearance to combustibles, we're measuring from what?
Combustible.
We're measuring from what to where?
From the wood to the brick?
We're measuring from the outer wall of the flue pipe to the combustible material.
So the flue pipe is running through the center here.
The flue pipe is inside the brick.
And assuming it has a 4-inch air
Which-
gap, it's okay.
Well, even if it has a 1/2 inch air gap,
It's still okay.
it's still okay because this chimney is interior to the house. So if it has a 1/2 inch air gap and this is 3.5 inch brick, that's 4 inches between the flue pipe
And
and the
the
combustible
combustible
material.
wood.
And
that's
since it's an
double what it
interior
needs.
Chimney, it only needs 2 inches.
Right. They're
Oh,
just looking at it because they seen wood touching brick. and
Right.
there's a
Right.
Fireplace down
Exactly.
there,
Exactly.
you know.
So
I'm just in complete awe of how they stacked that brick.
it's never pretty in the attic.
And it's never pretty
in the
getting
attic.
over
It's
to
on
in the attic.
outside.
Oh, it's horrible on the outside too.
So when you guys are out here doing these inspections, okay, and you're inside the attic like that, have you you've obviously already been downstairs or wherever and been at the firebox itself. How is it that, have you already run the camera so that you have an idea of what's actually going on? Like, how do you know that the flue isn't crooked inside and now you don't have your 4 inches, your 2 inches, like, how are you judging that?
You have a cracked flue, that's a whole different problem.
But you get what I'm saying? It should run straight up the center. And then they
There-
build around it.
That's not.
There's no way to tell if it really has the air gap without a level 3 inspection.
Right. On a
Assuming
masonry,
they built it correctly.
that's when we get into, so that's another number that we're gonna know. So on this one, this is the customer that we were talking about earlier, Angela. So down here in the inspection reports,
Okay.
when it asks about, did you get in the attic?
Like that, right? The rest.
So we're looking, this is the fire stop here, and we're looking for the clearance to combustibles. So we have areas like this, which I know is not really,
That's fine, but what I'm trying to understand, isn't that installation considered combustible?
it's the insulation should never be touching the flue pipe. That is one of the questions. Should the flue pipe ever have insulation touching it? The question is, the
No.
answer is no. And then we're looking, you see how Corey's got his hand down in
Hand in
here?
there, uh-huh.
And he's trying to show that the clearance to combustibles between the pipe and the wood is not there either.
Right. So this is a prefab, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's got the metal piping. And
Right.
Oh, I think so.
so this is a prefab. And do they run them through the middle of the home like that with nothing around them?
Yes.
Okay,
Because it only has to have 2 inches of clearance.
so as long as you don't have anything within 2 inch combustible material within 2 inches,
If
you're
it's
good.
if it's a double wall or dual wall pipe.
Okay.
Another good masonry to look at would be Jason Babb if you're looking for one.
No, I want
Prefabs are 2-inch, masonry is 4-inch essentially, or terracotta is, but if you have brick in front of it, that's another blah, blah, blah.
to, right.
I get, okay.
So when we are, another number that you guys need to know is, where are you at? There you go. How to find the area of a circle.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, I just learned this today.
How to find.
I never thought I would use this after school. Ever.
Do you know how to find the volume of a sphere?
No, and let's just not confuse Angela.
Okay. So the area of a circle. Now, I'm
How to
glad I'm
find the
recording this
area.
because this gets a little wonky.
Mm.
So if you're trying to find the area of, let's say, an 8-inch flue pipe.
Mm-hmm.
When we say 8-inch flue pipe, we're talking about the inside diameter, right?
Side to side.
Side to side, left to right, from my fingertips to my thumb tips down here, right?
Right.
That's 8 inches. To find the area of the circle, we need to know the radius of the circle. So
Just have
from the
this-
center point here out towards the edge as it radiates like a beam of light. If you imagine the sun being at the center of the circle and the sun radiating heat and light towards the outside of the circle, that's the radius.
Okay, so I've got my circle from here to here. That equals the radius, which is the R.
So
Okay.
the radius is always half of the diameter.
Okay, so radius is
Yes, 50.27.
half the diameter. Okay.
So the area of the circle, to find it, you're going to multiply the radius times itself, which is squaring it. We're not finding its square root. It's the radius times the radius times pi.
Okay, so area, to find the area, it would be R times
Squared.
R
R times R.
What's her Venmo?
It's kind of weird to me.
What
Why
am
we
I
just
paying her?
don't just do diameter times pi.
At
Okay,
Allison.
so R times R.
Hold on.
What do you do, Josh?
I said, I don't know why we don't just do
A
diameter.
L Y S O N.
Okay. You want to know why we don't do diameter times pi?
Okay.
Okay, wait, so the area equal is the area, give me the, how you were breaking it down just now. Area
Yeah,
is
give me-
radius
That's what I
times
just did.
radius.
I can't go any bigger. Okay, so it's radius times the radius times pi, which is 3.14.
Times 3.14.
Right. So for Josh, I want to show you the difference here because Josh doesn't understand why we don't just do the diameter times pi. The diameter is twice the radius, right? It's twice as much as the radius. So it's 2 times the radius, not the radius
I
times the
want to make
radius.
sure I'm sending it to the right person. You're about to send me 20.
So if we're talking about an 8-inch flue pipe, that means that the radius is 4,
4.
Oh, okay.
right? So if we're going to go 4 times 4
4.
times
Is
3.14
3.4.
gives us 50.24. Now, if we do the diameter times pi, which is 8 times 3.14, it's 25.12, which is exactly half.
And if you multiply that by 2,
Give me $20 on cash out.
There was a question, and I know it's in my, okay, it's this one. Hold on, let me, sorry, I'm just, how do you find the cross section? So is this kind of sound sort of like pi times radius equals squared? Is this considered the cross section that you're talking about?
What's the question?
The area? Okay, so like when you're talking about finding the area,
Last
Right?
4 of the phone number.
is that considered finding the cross sectional
Ask
of
the
a
question.
round pipe? Okay, it says, how do you find the cross sectional area of a round pipe? It is
Yes, we're
pi
finding the,
times radius squared.
yes,
So it would basically be your, so basically, once you find your area, which is your radius,
They say pi.
correct?
uh,
Once you get your radius, then, okay, because this question, like I said, it's from the,
Because you already know what.
so I'm trying to, make sure I'm not getting myself confused here.
And it's gonna be like 58.6 or whatever.
But
It's gonna be
For, I guess, mathematical purposes,
78 or-
what is that little symbol
It's just gonna
after
be-
the
Pi.
equal sign?
it goes area equals pi times the
Pi
radius.
times radius squared.
Right.
Okay,
They're calling
And
it-
Josh, to your effect,
they're saying it like that.
so we did an 8-inch pipe, let's do a 10-inch pipe, right?
Yeah.
okay,
So
so
a
it's,
10-inch pipe fit into this equation.
all
It's
right,
gonna
hold
be
on, let me get my
5
calculator.
times 5 times 3.14 is
Okay, so it'd be 5 times
78.5,
5
right?
times 3.14.
Now let's do it your way.
I
Let's
think
do
that's 10.
10 times 3.14 times 2.
what the?
Because you're doing the area of a whole circle, man.
No, I know how to do it. I was just, I don't know. I thought I reinvented math for a second,
How many corners are in a circle?
None.
0.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Josh. How many degrees are in a circle?
360.
How many degrees are in a square?
I don't know.
360.
Because a square, basically, there's 4 sides to a circle and 4 sides to a square.
No,
Oh, yeah.
the circle is 360 degrees
60
all the way
degrees right
around.
around,
A
Hold on,
square
half
is a
the
90-degree angle plus a 90
Plus
degree
90-degree
angle is
angle.
180, and a 90-degree angle is
Times-
270, and a 90-degree angle is 360.
right? So it's 490 degree, it's 90 degrees times 4 for your
We're gonna
square.
get one in here tonight.
So, all right. Now, how do you find the area of a square?
Length times width.
Yes.
That was on my flashcard.
Yep. So the question, you need to know length times width is the area of a square, because the question on the test is the area of a square is calculated by multiplying the radius times pi. True or false?
False.
Oh,
Right.
because that's for a circle.
Right.
I'll be damned, the flashcards are working.
It's amazing when that happens, right?
Yeah, now I just gotta finish making them.
Okay. So we've
Then you're
got
gonna
that
make
one
me a
down.
copy.
So we're mathing it up, man. We're a
You
bunch
know
of math
what?
heads.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Are you gonna be at the office tomorrow? Because I'm gonna stab you with my pencil.
No, no.
Oh, Jesus.
no.
He's like, maybe I was, but not now.
Gina and
Right.
Lisa decided that I could go to Keller and then drive to Dallas for 3 jobs.
Oh, that's
saw
right.
that.
I forgot about that.
I saw that.
Okay, more math. More math.
Yay!
The maximum angle of a smoke chamber,
45
45 degrees.
degrees.
45 degrees. Okay. Now, how do you find the maximum height of a smoke chamber?
Width of the box
Where at?
at the firebox opening.
The width of the firebox opening. So at the front of the fireplace, right here, as you look at it when you come into the room,
Uh-huh.
left to right, the width of that opening is the maximum height for the smoke chamber. So there's this little nifty equation right here saying
Okay,
that the
so-
height of the smoke chamber is less than or equal to the width of the firebox.
All right, start back beginning. What was your full question at the very beginning? Not the 45-degree angle, but the first question. Like, how do you find
How
the
do
what?
you find the maximum height of the smoke chamber?
Do you find max height of the smoke chamber? Okay, so that's the question, and the answer is width
Of the
Ah.
fireplace opening.
width of the fireplace opening.
Yep. And your mathematical equation, if you will, for that,
Uh-huh.
and you'll have
Is-
this so that you can define it. I'll give you this sheet as well.
Okay, so it'd
But
be
the
height
height of the smoke chamber, which is H, is less than
or equal to the width.
the W, which is the width of the fireplace opening.
Okay. Okay.
Does everybody have that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We,
I remember these. I remember this diagram.
now this is not the best picture and it's really low res. But
That's your fire.
only two things to know when you're measuring for the hearth or the hearth extension. By definition, the hearth is the actual floor of the firebox.
That.
The non-combustible material in front of the hearth is the hearth extension.
Right, so anything from where the actual firebox stops, right here at the front forward, that's considered the extension. Anything from the front of the firebox back is
Right.
considered the hearth.
So if you know the opening of the firebox, we're finding the surface area of the firebox by square feet. Josh, do you know how to calculate the opening of a firebox in square feet?
Yeah, length times the width.
But you're going to measure in inches. So you need one more thing.
Length times width times height
No,
or depth.
that's volume.
Oh,
So you're measuring in inches, right? The question on the test is if you have a firebox that is 38 inches wide and 27 inches tall, what size does the hearth extension need to be? So anything that is 6 feet,
Feet,
go ahead.
okay, so it's, the question on the test, that's how you said it. So anything that is
Divided by
equal to or greater than 6 feet, doesn't it have to be
You do it all.
12 and 20
Master caps.
It's 12 inches off to the sides of the
Side
firebox
and
and
20 inches
20
out?
inches out from the firebox. Yes. So the way that we get that number, let me pull this back up here. I should really just keep this open.
Okay, and it's,
Mhm.
So
do
the
the
way that we
question.
get that number, it's 38 inches wide and 27 inches tall, right?
right,
So we're gonna do 38 times 27 equals
38
1,026, but that's
27.
square inches.
7.12.
So we need to, we need to
So
break
now
that
we need it
down.
in square feet.
Feet,
So how many inches are in a foot?
Oh, because square feet when I do
12.
So 12 times 12 is what?
24.
144.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry,
144.
I'm sorry, 144, sorry.
144. So 144 square inches is 1 square foot, right? So we're going to divide our 1,026 by 144. So
7.125.
times 27 divided by 144
Okay. So
gives me
38.
7.125 or 7 1/8 square feet.
So you said 38 times 27?
Uh-huh. And
Okay,
to get square feet, you divide it by 144.
divided by 144,
You got that, Josh? I
Equals-
see the eyebrows going.
7.
I'm just,
One,
yeah, I'm conceiving.
5.
I'm locked
And this,
into this.
this is the equation for figuring out everything.
This is the equation for figuring out the square foot of an area.
This is
So
the
the
equation.
opening
to
of the
figure out
firebox
the-
is square feet.
Yeah,
foot.
this is an equation to figure out the square feet of how big the caps are or the chimney is as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Educators
square
should
foot-
be using this to know how big their caps are.
Yeah.
So
Exactly,
basically it's the
Brian.
square foot of what exactly is the technical term you want to say? This is how you figure out the square foot of,
This is how you find the opening of the firebox.
Length times width divided by 144.
Yep.
okay. All right,
So Josh,
we-
if you measure a cap that's 10 foot 3
That would
inches,
be for gas.
or what would that be? That'd be 123
I'd
inches
actually have to measure.
by 3 foot 3 inches, which is 39 inches. You're gonna take 123 times 39,
Divided by
and you're
one.
gonna come and then you're gonna divide it by 144, and you're gonna come out with just shy of 34 square feet.
so this is the square
That's
foot
why you
of
need to sell it
any
for the
area?
price.
Right, right.
Is this what you're saying? So this is how you figure out the square foot of an area?
Yep.
Yes.
So
Square foot
if we're
of
not
area.
using that equation to calculate your cap sizes, you're undercharging or overcharging. You're charging for caps is not correct. So if you're going out and selling every number one for whatever the price is in kick-serve, it could be a third of what it needs to be.
Mhm.
That's why
It's
we have
linked-
the cap pricing sheet and it's in square feet. It's the width of the chimney in inches times the length of the chimney in inches divided by 144
44
gives you the square foot of the chimney. That's also how you sell your waterproofing bundle,
equals
is knowing the square foot of the chimney cap.
foot.
And the height of the chimney.
Okay, so just for my stupid notes, the 144 is
Is a
what
square
again?
foot. It's 12 times 12 is 144. So it's the width of the firebox
where
times the height
Height.
of the firebox opening, width of the firebox opening times the height of the firebox opening divided by 144 gives you the square foot of the firebox opening. And
width,
that's how you know which hearth extension you need. And they only come in 2 flavors. Angela already said 20 and 12. If it's less than 6 square feet, it's 16 and 8.
16 and 8. Okay, so width times,
But that is key. I don't know if they're gonna use it like that, but it is less than square feet or 6 feet and greater.
right. $144 equals, okay. And 144 is square foot because it's 12 inches times 2.
Oh, that's.
That's horrible.
It is horrible. I know. I only needed it big enough to go on the Quizlet and on Connect Team. So
The base
Okay,
of
so
a
this one
state
is
ladder
referencing-
should be 1 foot out of the floor.
yeah, this is referencing
Ladder
how
height.
to set up a ladder according to OSHA. So OSHA says that for every 4 foot from the ground up that a ladder is going to go up, it needs to come 1 foot out. So your proper ratio for your ladder setup is 4 to 1.
Right, you're 4 to 1. So ratio for ladder set up is, yeah, 4 to 1. That I remember that on my flashcards. 4 to 1. Okay. Because OSHA says
For every
what?
4 foot up, it needs to come
4.
1 foot away from the house.
4 foot up needs to come 1
Now-
foot away from the house, you said?
Right, well, you also have to take
Come.
into account if you're
One.
resting that against an eave, the eave is already X amount. So like right here where you can see how the eave of the house comes out past the wall, the eave is now your furthest point out where your
Well,
ladder's hitting.
Hamburger between 160, 165. Okay, yeah,
Okay,
okay.
so one of the questions on the test is if a ladder is being set up and its point of contact is 16 feet in the air, how far out should the ladder come?
4.
Josh, what'd you say?
4.
4.
So
You're really good with that mute button.
The baby screaming.
okay, so you repeat that again and then tell me how you get it.
Okay, so the question is that if the ladder is going to go up and hit the house at 16
16
feet in the
feet.
air, how far out should the base of the ladder be where it touches the ground? Josh said 4
16.
feet.
And how did you find that, Josh? What's your
Because it's
equation?
a 4 to 1 ratio, right?
Mhm.
So for every 4 foot up, it's 1 foot out.
So 16 divided by,
So what times 4 equals 16?
I don't know, 16 divided
What's-
by
What?
4. You're asking me to do too much in my head,
So 4 times 4 is 16, right?
right?
So if you've got an equation that's a 4 on top and a 1 on bottom,
Right,
4 times 4 is 16 on the top. You have to 4 times 1 on the bottom.
Okay, I got that.
Does that make sense?
But if you were gonna mathematically write it out, how would I write it out?
Height divided by 4.
16 divided by 4, right?
It's the height divided by 4. So h divided by 4 will give you the distance out.
Divided by 4
So
equals.
h divided by 4 is equivalent to d, or the depth to the wall.
Okay, I got that. So if it's 16 up, divide that by, oops. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I got to make it make sense in my head. I'm sorry.
No. That's why we're here.
Yeah, don't be sorry. We're all
Okay.
educated here.
Very last thing, and then I'm gonna let you guys go, because I know everybody's working tomorrow. The different levels of the inspection. You guys just need to know what is included in each level of inspection. There's only 3 levels, and every level up includes everything before it.
Right.
So one of the questions is, what level of inspection uses basic hand tools and ladders? The answer is level 2.
Yep.
So level 1 doesn't use a ladder, but a level 1 still accesses certain areas to check the installation and clearance to combustibles. So it's anywhere that's easily accessible, you still do in a level 1. But it's
Anything
all
you can
just with your
visually
eye.
do with your eye.
Anything you can do with your eye. Level 2 is when you add the tools and the ladders and the video scanning. Level 3 is all of that other stuff, and that's when you start cutting holes in the wall and breaking brick out of the chimney to look at what's going on the inside. Level 3 is the destructive one.
Right, where you're demoing.
So basically level 3 would be where you're ripping
Right.
stuff out.
Right. So the way that I remember this is level 1, you're going to your general practitioner, and he's just kind of looking you over, right?
Okay, so these are inspection levels. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Die
So-
on you soon, Cody.
So level 1 is your general practitioner. You're going to go visit him. He's going to look you over, and he's going to try and diagnose you just based on what he can see without anything extra.
So level 1 is anything seen with eye.
Right. Level 2 is he's sending you to go see a specialist. You're going to get an MRI. You're going to get a CAT scan. You're going to get x-rays. They're using some kind of video equipment and some specialized tools like heart rate monitors, that kind of stuff,
So
to
level
try and
2
help
is
diagnose you.
level 2 is eye and tools.
Where's the hip replacement?
Level
then-
3 is surgery.
Level 3 is when they're literally cutting you open to see how bad the tumor is, because they can't see it so well. So they're going
That's
to cut
scary,
you
just
open to see
thinking.
what's going on.
General prac specialist. My boyfriend's gonna look at these notes and be like, what the hell are you talking about going to surgery for?
He's going to think you're cutting him up.
No, but he is making dinner, so thank you for the class.
That's
Okay,
And then-
so level 3 would be your eye, tools, plus ripping apart.
Yep.
Eye and tools and rip out,
Yep.
which would be surgery.
46 inches.
Maybe 10 foot before it touches.
Okay. And then this last slide here, I'm just going to include in the email to the customer service. And I'll email it out to all the educators and Brian individually. This one is fairly self-explanatory.
Brian don't need this.
I'm good.
So 3 foot.
Yeah,
I remember this was part of my flashcards
yeah,
last
it's part of
night.
the flashcards. But
I
this one is
explain it all the time.
self-explanatory. It's the 10-2-3 rule.
Okay, wait a
So
minute.
you
let me
guys
go
will
here.
have that one just to have as a flashcard if you wanted to print it off.
So building code dimensions is a 10-2-3 rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10
Well,
foot
this,
away from the
yeah.
roof, feet higher where it comes out of the roof. and 2
Yeah,
feet
so
tall.
it's measured from the innermost point of the chimney to where you could draw a straight level line and touch the roof line. At that point where you could fit that 10-foot line that's level and straight, the top of the flue must be 24 inches above that. So the question is, the flue must be X taller than any structure within 10 feet. It's 2 feet taller
feet.
or 24
20
inches, depending
inches.
on the way to ask it. And then any chimney that penetrates a roof line
Has to be 3
must be
feet.
on the shortest side. They're measuring it over here. But if you look, their line is coming in to the short side.
Uh-huh.
On the shortest side of the chimney, which is here, must be minimum 3 feet tall.
The way they have it worded is a little more confusing
Yeah. So I'm just going to include that slide for you guys as well.
because they have it talking about the I can't remember the exact words they talk about, but yeah, it gets a little more confusing than that.
Right.
Oh, and on that, I have to ask, man, is grandfathered in, that's still a thing, right?
No, it's never been a thing.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so it's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you watch the Alan Rush videos that I've been trying to get everybody to watch since, I don't know, June,
No, I watched.
May, June. One of his rebuttals to the customer's #1 complaints, the complaint is, well, isn't this grandfathered in? And the rebuttal to that is, absolutely, the structure is grandfathered in, but not the codes and standards. And then you ask them why the codes and standards are continually changing. And they're going to tell you, well, it's to keep us safe and to make sure that everything's right. Yeah?
Yeah.
So the codes and standards change. The structure in the way that it is constructed is grandfathered in as long as the codes and standards can be enforced compliantly.
Yeah, I just learned about that today. Like a standard, it is something that has to be followed. A code is something that has to be followed, but isn't law. And then a regulation is law.
So if anybody ever asks you about, well, it's just code, blah, 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 I'd be like, yes, but you know, if your insurance company comes in here and looks at this and says, well, this isn't code compliant, you didn't do your standard maintenance, they're going to let your house burn down and not pay you anything for it.
Yeah, I see.
The insurance company only uses the NFPA as a sword and never as a shield.
Yeah.
It's up to you guys to get them to understand that the NFPA is there to shield them against certain things, and that's how you want to use it. Because nobody ever thinks about the NFPA until something bad has happened, and then they're going to use that and state their favorite phrase is deferred maintenance, and that's why they don't cover repairs like regrouting or rebuilding a mortar crown or some water leaks related to chimneys when the chimney is in disrepair. That's because it's deferred maintenance. They bought a house with a chimney that's 40 years old that no anyone's ever touched. You buy a car that's 40 years old that's never had a radiator flush or transmission fluid change or an oil change, and never put tires on it. They've never changed the air filter, and you want to take it on a road trip, you've got to do those things to make it roadworthy so that you can use it. Chimneys are the same way. You don't want the car to rot away? Great, maybe hit it with a coat of wax, dude. I don't know. You know?
I feel bad that I actually missed the opportunity to be like, wait, that don't make sense. And I didn't do it. And I knew to do it because I watched the Alan Rush video, but I just didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's why we study on this stuff here and the educator stuff as well.
Okay, so the question we were talking about earlier, I'm sorry about the building codes. I was going through my files because I was trying to find the actual question. It says it says all chimneys must be at least blank inches above roof penetration. Is that what
That's
you're
when
talking
it
about
comes
this?
through the roof. It must be, once it
36
penetrates the
inches.
roof or goes through the roof, it must be at least 36 inches or 3 feet.
Okay, see, I was just trying to make sure that diameter you were showing me, that's why I was asking.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
alrighty. Well, everybody, it's about 7:30. We've been at it now for about an hour and a half. Does anybody have any questions for me before we hop off?
Just all these videos link, or do you have all these videos on the next day? Do you load them onto Connect Teams? Because I have a playlist saved on YouTube to have them on, and I'm missing one.
They're on the Master Services the Master Services YouTube. I was putting them on mine, and Chad didn't want that. He wanted them to go on the Master Services YouTube channel.
So what is
So
the
that's where they
Master
go.
Services YouTube channel? Like, is it just Master Services?
Master Services, yeah.
Okay, I'll find it then. All right. I
So,
got a lot of
and-
flashcards to write.
This was good info, man. I was kind of confused as to what a thimble was until now, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That's for
All
sure.
right.
Do you know if you have a thimble with a pie plate and what it's got to be made out of?
24 gauge sheet metal.
Unless sometimes it has been, there's a question about brick and mortar. The answer is brick and mortar, and I just
Yeah.
can't remember the question off the top of my head. It
With a
says the
thimble?
thimble with the pie plate that is
Is a wall pass through
a wall pass through.
and
then
the
it-
clearance to combustibles.
Combustible.
It was this one right here. We went over this one. It's 12 inches.
12 inches, but it has to be in it, but that's for brick and mortar.
Well, no, it's a 24 gauge sheet metal thimble being used on a wall with 3.5 inches of masonry and a 1 inch air gap.
Yeah.
No, there's another one. I'll have to find it, and I'll put it to you on Connect Teams, because it's literally the answer to the question is brick and mortar. It's
Oh,
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
Quizlet.
Okay, so there's one that's a 24 gauge sheet metal wall thimble with a 1 inch airspace. And that also reduces by 66%.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure, because
Yeah, no. I know what you're talking about.
what's a breech? BREECH? What is that?
Breach.
Breach? Is that how you pronounce that? Breach?
Yes.
Okay. I'm pulling my Latin out,
Yeah,
but I'm pulling out some of this stuff like pyro.
It's right here,
Rises.
Angela. It's right here.
Okay.
24 gauge sheet metal with ventilated airspace reduces by 66%. If
Mhm.
that's being used to ventilate stovepipe for a wood stove, it's reducing from 36 inches down 66% is 12 inches.
Okay.
So it says if you're using a 24 gauge sheet metal thimble with ventilated airspace, it reduces by what? It's 66%.
66%. Okay. Oh, I've got a lot of flashcards to write. All right. And I'll find the Master Services YouTube so that I can make sure I have all of my videos.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, everybody have a great night.
You
If
too.
you guys have any other questions, just shoot me an email, all right?
All right. Good night, everybody.
Alrighty.
night. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Have you called about my book?
No. I'll call in the morning, I promise.
Hey, Cody.
Yeah.
The question was, open thimbles with pie plate covers should be made of what materials if not going to be used? Brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar.
It's on the Quizlet. and it says an open thimbles with pie plate covers should be made of what materials if they're not going to be used? It says brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar. Okay.
That was what I was trying to get at, because like I said, it's, you know, some of the terminology I'm not still familiar with.
Yeah. Some of the questions on the Quizlet are different from the CSIA exam prep.
Correct. So I'm going to
So-
use that. I'm still going to use the Quizlet to make my flashcards because
If
it's
you
actually
if
helping.
you've written all of the questions from the Quizlet and you're going through the one on Connect Team, if you know of questions on the Quizlet that aren't on Connect Team, if you send them to me, the question with the answer, I can add it into on Connect Team.
Well, this is the stack from 3 pages of the Quizlet.
Uh,
Here is my other blank ones that I'm trying to do about a page to 2 pages a night. And then after I get through writing them,
yeah,
I go through them
yeah,
so that I review the ones I've already done. And I've also started doing this on my Quizlet because, you know, some of the wording on some of these could actually be worded differently. So what I did is I've started, and once I've actually written all the flashcards, I'm going to go through and make a flashcard with it worded a little differently in case it's worded differently on the test. Because
Yeah.
right now for me, I can't go out and do this stuff. So repetition of seeing it, hearing it, writing it, reading it is how I'm going to learn it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So
The only other question I have before we go, is it actually pronounced pyrolysis?
paralysis.
Pyrolysis?
Yes,
Pyrolysis.
paralysis.
All right, because I was like trying to break it down like you would medical terminology.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yep, absolutely. All
Thank
right.
you so much. Have
You're
a good
welcome.
night. Have fun
You
going
too.
to Keller than Dallas.
Yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow, Angela.
All righty. Bye.
All right, bye.